Welcome back to my channel. Hope you are doing well. In today's video, I'm looking into relationship advice. You will absolutely love it, especially the first story, in which OP puts his teenage sister in her place. That kid sounds so spoiled. So whose fault do you think it is? Is it a parent's responsibility to keep a child from becoming a spoiled brat? Sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, I'm 24 male. My little sister is 14 and has always been interested in art. I moved an hour and a half away when I was 18, and we don't see each other often, but I make a point to call, text. It was her birthday yesterday, and I thought I'd splurge since she's been going through a rough time. She's changed school twice due to B, and our mom always tells me that she won't talk to anyone, is having intense mood swings, etc. I've made multiple attempts to help her, but she shuts me down and gets snippy. Anyway, I got her a set of $150 artist-grade markers called Copics. I'm no art connoisseur, but apparently every artist who's anybody has them, and our parents don't want to spend that kind of money for her hobby. They're about $5 per marker, and tend to give practical gifts like clothes. Whenever we've texted recently, it's been her ranting about them not getting them for her. Even on her birthday, she was like a bee about to go off. She barely acknowledged me and only said hello when she was asked. I was excited to give her the gift, but the second I opened it, she grabbed them and turned to our mom saying, "See, even he knows you should have got them for me," which I awkwardly brushed off. Every time she opened a gift from our parents, it was very snotty like, "Oh yeah, cheap sneakers, my favorite. A plaid skirt, wow, I'm blessed." I was prepared for an angsty teen, but I soon reached my limit. Our dad showed her a journal they bought, and she suddenly yelled, "I told you both exactly what I wanted, but you spent that same amount of money on crap I don't need. Duck this." She threw it against the wall and ran up to her room. Our parents were a lot less well off when I was her age, and they could barely afford a birthday for me. Every time, it was a dodgy cake and a handful of clothes without holes in them. I accepted them like I was the luckiest kid ever. I would have never swore and yelled, but she's been very spoiled. I talked with them for a while, and apparently she's done worse before, which shocks me. They think even if they can afford it now, she should learn the value of $1. I agree. Helped shape me to not have every whim to be attended to. Besides, she got what she wanted in the end. Why is she still mad in the first place? Sister came back to get the markers, but I took them back. I said that she was ungrateful and I wouldn't tolerate it. She started screaming at me, but I just left the party prematurely with the gift in tow. My whole family is blowing up my phone because I ruined her birthday. In my eyes, I spent $150 to get no thank you and yelled at. This will teach her a valuable lesson and maybe spark a change in her teen angst phase. But my family doesn't want to hear from me until I give it back. Considering I've got my entire family crapping on me, I have to wonder if I did make the wrong choice. So, am I the idiot? I think OP is not an idiot at all. Well done for taking the gift back. No wonder why she behaves like that. It's completely the parents' fault. Even after her crappy behavior, they demand OP give the gift back and doesn't want to hear from him until he gives it back. Really? They have what they created themselves. A spoiled little brat. At least OP is one person who is sensible in the family. I'm the dad of a 25-year-old young woman who I love very much. I've been able to have a good relationship with my daughter, and I enjoy my time with her. But there's one thing about her that would give many people pause. She is a diagnosed sociopath. She exhibited odd, disturbing behavior at a young age, and after a serious incident towards her younger sister, I realized she needed professional help. Throughout her elementary years, she struggled heavily, getting in lots of trouble in school for lying, cruelty, and all other types of misbehaviors. With an enormous amount of therapy and support, her bad behavior was minimized as she grew older. She received an ASPD diagnosis at 18, and I had suspected it for a long time prior. After her aggressive behavior was tamed, her following years were much more fruitful. She's law-abiding, has a decent job and a good education, and has many good friendships and admirers, especially male admirers. She is very, very charming and adept at attracting guys and maintaining their interest. She uses that old dating guide, The Rules, like a Bible. She currently has a boyfriend of about a year and a half who's crazy about her, and who I have a very strong relationship with. We live in the same area and spend some time together regularly. He is a great guy, very kind, funny, and intelligent. But I doubt she loves him. We've had some very honest, in-depth discussions about her mental health since her diagnosis, and she's been pretty open with me that she doesn't feel love or empathy towards anyone, even family. When she acted very sad and broken up over the death of one of her closest friends at the funeral, she confessed to me privately that it was all a put-on, and that she felt pretty neutral about the whole thing. She has also stated she has never once felt guilty about anything she's ever done, and doesn't know what guilt feels like. While she enjoys being around her boyfriend and is sexually attracted to him, I highly doubt she feels much of anything towards him love-wise. Her boyfriend, who might propose soon, has no idea about her diagnosis, and she's been very upfront with me that she has no plans to ever tell him, thinking it'll scare him away. I've made it very clear to her that she needs to tell him the truth before they marry, that he has the right to know and consider it, or I will. To which she always responds, "I know you wouldn't dare." I actually would. I really like and respect this young man, and would feel awful keeping this secret from him, and letting him walk into a marriage without this piece of knowledge. I'm not trying to sabotage my daughter's future. Maybe her boyfriend's love of her personality and other aspects is enough that it won't end the relationship. It's his decision to make, but he deserves all the facts. Someday, he's bound to find out she's a bit off. It can't be kept a secret forever. Am I the idiot? That's a difficult one, guys. In my opinion, this guy deserves to know the truth. But if OP tells him his daughter's secret, it will destroy his relationship with his daughter. That's a very serious diagnosis, which will ruin her future fiancé's life. The best solution would be to tell the truth to the guy, but to make sure that OP's daughter never finds out that OP told it. Do you think that would be possible? Also, I think sooner or later the truth will come out. You can't hide a diagnosis like that forever. So, a bit of backstory. Today was my birthday, and I decided to invite the whole family over for a meal at my favorite restaurant. Everything was going great, and I was having a blast. My brother said that he had bought a cake for me. He says that he is going to go and get it, but my sister chimes in and says she needs to go get something first, and we decide, all right, we will wait a bit. My sister goes to her car and comes back with 2 balloons and a plain white cake. I thought they were for me, so I was obviously happy. Then she says that because everyone was here and all together, she wanted to make an announcement. She said that she was finally having a baby and wants to do a mini gender reveal party. Everyone cheers and whoops and is happy for her. I was happy as well. She then cuts the cake and hands it around. Turned out to be a boy. Everyone forgot about me, and not a single soul spoke to me in the 2 hours we were still there for. We didn't even cut the cake that my brother bought. When I got home, I texted my sister basically saying how I didn't think it was right that she did all of this at the party that I organized and paid for. I said that she could have at least told me beforehand. She texted back calling me selfish and that I should be happy. My mom and extended family are all saying the same thing. The only person that supports me is my brother. Edit. It is her birthday in a few weeks' time, so I may have to do some petty revenge. Update. So today's been pretty eventful. I decided that I would reach out to extended family and told them that I thought I was in the right. They all kept saying how I should just be happy that my sister is having a baby and that birthdays happen multiple times, but babies are only born once. I tried to tell them after they said that I paid for the meal and I organized it. They said 3 words. Deal with it. I'm really considering cutting them off because I just feel like they don't care about me. Me, my brother, and some of my friends are all going out on our own mini party. And yes, I do have a bit of revenge planned. I don't understand, guys. How come her family thinks it's okay to just come and hijack someone's party, making it all about themselves? OP's family is so entitled. I hope OP's revenge plan was a good one. Next time, OP should bring her engagement cake to her sister's divorce proceedings. I'm 26 and my sister is 15. Our parents died in a car crash 4 years ago, and since then, I have been her legal guardian. It's been tough. I went from a single man, freshly graduated, great job for a single person's income, and complete freedom to having to take care of a grieving child while I was grieving myself. I make enough for both of us to get by, but not much more. My sister came crying to me today. She admitted that she's pregnant. She said they didn't use birth control, but he pulled out. Apparently, it's some kid in her class. I comforted her, told her it was going to be okay, and that we'd get through this. Then she dropped a bomb on me. She wants to keep it. She wants to raise and nurture it and give them the childhood she never had. I told her she can't be serious. She's way too young to care for a child. Hell, she's too young to get a job in most places. That if she keeps the child, I'm the one who will be bearing that responsibility. Sure, she can make minimum wage, but at least where we live, it's simply not enough to get by, and I'm simply not in the place in my life where I can afford to take care of another child. She told me that she doesn't expect me to be the parent, and I told her that it didn't matter what she expected. The bottom line is that as her legal guardian, I'm the one who will be responsible for the child, by law, until she turns 18. That I'm the one who'd be awakened to a 3-month-old throwing a tantrum at 3 a.m. regardless of what she expects. That I'm the one who's going to have to babysit when she works, goes to school, because there'd be absolutely no way she can afford an external babysitter. She then got angry and said, "Well, I'm keeping it, whether you like it or not." I told her she very well can make this choice, but then I'd have to make my own choice, and that I will no longer be her guardian. I'd give her up to our grandparents. They're very strict Christian and would have no problem forcing her to give this kid up for adoption and making her life a living hell for premarital S. It's the reason she begged to live with me over them. They're not great people. She's been distraught, telling me I'm a horrible person and that she hates me for trying to force her to give away the one thing she loves the most. I tried comforting her. I know she's going through a duck ton, but I just can't raise another child. My life was already put on halt when my parents died, and another halt when I had to take care of my sister. I just can't afford financially or emotionally to take care of another kid I didn't ask for. I just can't. And I don't want to either. Am I being unreasonable to want her to not keep the baby and sending her off to her grandparents if she chooses to? Edit. Just wanted to specify that my grandparents are not good people. They're not physically A, but they scream a lot if they don't get their way. They're very old school, very much believe in spankings if a child is disobedient. My sister would likely be forced to do all the cooking, cleaning, because our grandmother is old and they both have the S mentality that women belong in the kitchen. So she's essentially choosing between giving up her kid or living with her grandparents, who would force her to give up her kid. Just wanted to reiterate because if they were good people, I would have no problem making this decision, but they're not. I don't think OP is being unreasonable. The opposite, he is very reasonable. And yes, it is OP who would be raising the child. She has the right to keep the child, but OP has no obligation to raise an infant. So I think if she really wants that baby so badly, she should go live with her grandparents. My main group of friends is 4 other women I met at university 10 years ago. We all basically met on the first week of the first year and have stayed tight with each other over the last 10 years. I used to think they were all badasses and looked to them for advice for a lot of stuff, including relationships. I started seeing my now ex-husband 6 years ago. We got married 2 years ago, got separated 1 year ago, and now divorce is final. A lot of the problems we had was me acting on what in hindsight seems like bad advice given to me by my friends. Examples. Just after our engagement, they convinced me that I shouldn't change my last name or hyphenate because it was old-fashioned and oppressive, even though Mark told me early on that it was an important thing to him. They planted doubts in my mind about what I originally thought were innocent comments by his mom, were jabs that she was taking at me, and pushed me to force Mark to stand up for me to his mom. convinced me that I need to ration S because of some stupid reason that I bought into then that doesn't make sense now. Convinced me that when we have kids, they should take my last name because I would be giving birth, and again, we shouldn't support old-fashioned traditions. With the last fight, Mark had enough and said he wanted out and initiated the breakup. I was devastated. I foolishly thought he'd never leave me because, again, my friends convinced me that I was way out of his league and that he would never leave me. I decided I can't be friends with these women anymore because not only did they give me really bad advice, but when each of them were married, none of them followed any of the advice that had been so important when they told me. They each took their husband's last names. They all bend over backwards to get along with their in-laws. No rationing of S. No more kids need to get mother's last name talk. This just pissed me off, and I confronted them. I told them they were just using my marriage as a playground to test their stupid relationship theories, and that they only started really thinking things through when it came to their own relationships. I told them I couldn't be friends with them anymore. They are saying I'm being unreasonable, and that they told me what they thought was best at the time, and no one held a G to my head. They said now that they've been in the position, things are different, and that they're saying it's a lot more important to go along to get along. That's true. I'm probably going to be regretting for the rest of my life not using enough of my own judgment in my own life decisions. But the thought that I had a good guy that I pushed away because of their advice is just too much for me. Will I be the idiot cutting them loose? OP should take responsibility for her own life and decisions like a grown woman. I really don't think that her marriage fell apart because she didn't change her last name and asked her husband to stand up to his mom. Then the marriage wasn't strong in the first place. And when it comes to rationing S, it's so obviously a ridiculous idea that OP should have known better. Part of being an adult and making adult decisions is recognizing bad and hypocritical advice and making your own choice whether to follow it. I think OP is just looking for someone to blame for her marriage falling apart. It is very naive to believe that it has nothing to do with her or her husband. OP should take a look at her own self, or the next time it won't be any better.